Hello and welcome to TFT North American Regional Finals and World Qualifiers. Final Day 3, Game 3.
Regional finals on the final day. These are our top 8. We are sending players to Worlds today, and one of those players that looks likely to lock it in is Replay. Back-to-back first to kick us off. And looks like he's gotten the sword start, which has been a heavily contested carousel item over the course of this weekend.
Oh yeah, it is lesser duplicator as well. Maybe making something like, laser core ash or something popping out, and see a sword, see Renekton, see lesser champion duplicator, ash in the shop. Maybe I'm kind of speaking into existence right now, but there are just a lot of different lines. Of course, we've sung praises of the meta. Replay is going to be very open right now, but he's just had a really good set. I know I mentioned a stat earlier of Setsuko top 10ing every tournament. Replay is top 20'd every tournament this set, which is still super impressive overall. Coming into this event, had a 3.84 average on tournament games. And over this tournament, he is 3.43, so he's doing better. Obviously, coming off of 2 first place, the momentum is very much in his favor. It's been a really big treat to watch, and I know Frodan's gonna be happy because definitely was looking at Replay a lot about being a dark horse to maybe take it all, and he is on track to do so.
Yeah, he has been doing so fantastic. Taking a look just at his start here, he might be able to grab a couple of 2 stars. Some defender options with those double rels, but we have seen a lot less popularity of that unit, even though we did see some decent Kaisa gameplay. I think it actually was Replay, if I remember correctly, who played that Kaisa with the think fast up down, and there's hold the line as an option, so there was a chance to go in that direction.
Yeah, it's a direction that does benefit from the lesser champion duplicator. Gotta still be thinking about that, but Burning Spirit we've seen kind of defaulted to a lot. If that's a 2/2/2 augment, we're probably going to see like 2 players at least take it, so we will be not going that direction actually and going back to hold the line.
Replay is sad for not holding the rel pair going into this, but
yeah,
still
unlucky.
going to go in that direction. We know he's not afraid to play into Kaisa, and that is going to be certainly an option that we look at when we start with hold the line for rel.
Has some solid upgrades as well to pair on this board. The Wukong for the 2 defender, and Ashe is gonna be leveling up here, which you always have to think about. What is my level up actually accomplishing? Oh, that unlucky roll with the Ezreal getting the hook there onto the Ashe, maybe not winning that round. But we gotta be thinking of, what does my level up actually accomplish? Am I actually putting a unit that does something? And with the Wukong one, I guess sure, it's a lot of extra tank in the front line. It might end up being the difference in this fight, to be honest. Although it's gonna be really close. Rel is gonna be taking a lot less damage, gonna be dealing more damage with more AP as well. She needs to get to the point where she's casting, however, as I think when she does cast, she will be taking out the solution. Doesn't even need to cast. The auto attack actually takes it out. But Replay, I guess, is going to be feeling good about that one. Can't really say it is anything of a mistake, as Deepay is rocking with Underground and early D-Claw slam as well. That's really interesting, given the fact that Deepay is probably just wanting to lose streak throughout all of stage 2.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good item when you do actually re-roll the Unrelenting Force Vi. It's pretty reasonable, especially considering how much AP is in the meta. Just in general, D-Claw being a good item due to that fact, but he doesn't necessarily have to lean 100% into the reroll. However, Vi Ezreal reroll, having the Underground early, you can do the quick cash outs just for gold as you go through. We haven't seen as much of people playing that style outside of just with the Rising Spellforce Ezreal, because that has been the much more popular version of the Undergrounds recently. But this is, as we will continue to say over and over again, a wide meta, and potentially Deepay has another line here that he's interested in going.
Yeah, we're going to be able to see probably a pretty big cash out there. Already playing it from 2-1, might be greeting into a 2 heist or a 3 heist even. And we've seen transitions with that, because this is a meta that does favor having 2 carries itemized and a tank fully itemized as well. Underground, I think, is maybe more valuable than in previous metas, so have to keep that in mind as well. as we look for now at Jukyu, who has opted to slam a guard breaker, and I think a situation where not a lot of people would. You would love to keep the belt open for an Annie item, right? Sunfire, Warmogs, all going to be really good on her, and the guard breaker damage that comes out with the Lux isn't really going to get too much value at this point in the game, but Jukyu, I guess, wanting at least a little bit of that tempo, even though he's going win-loss.
Yeah, definitely Guardbreaker feels like a later game item where you're going to get a lot more value from that. Yes, there are shields early on, but it's not going to be as much. Taking a look at Setsuko, though, first time we're seeing him this game. Playing time and a half Sivir. He does have a sword. That is going to be a decent start for that. Kick-starting the economy, and we can see Setsuko making 20 gold already here.
Making 20, win-loss win for Jukyu. Roby with a few wins in a row and already pushing to level 5, talking about lobby tempo. Oftentimes it is players who push level 5 before the stage 2 carousel that are going to be, securing that full stage 2 win streak, which oftentimes does net in a top 4 placement overall on the game. But we gotta be looking at some eggs here on the carousel as well. Talking about the economy, you're gonna get a big economy boost later, but not any right now. So it's going to be a little bit slower to get to those, 20, 30 breakpoints. So a player like Setsuko, who is already on 20 gold, actually is gonna be pretty massively advantaged.
Yeah, on 20 with time and a half, and just got another sword off the carousel, so can actually slam that death blade, start generating more income from that. So that's huge for Setsuko. Definitely be taking a look at his economy later in this stage to see what that happened. But replay, yeah, we said he was going to angle Kai'Sa, and how has he found Kai'Sa 2125? How?
We just saw this board a couple rounds ago. It's like, okay, it has a Rel. We leveled for a Wukong 1, but then was there like a triple Kai'Sa shop? What happened?
Like while he's angling for Kai'Sa too, right? Like it's not like, oh, he just stumbled into a Kai'Sa shop. It's like, this is exactly what he wants. Mortdog's got the levers for him. I know Frodan was asking for those to come down for Setsuko, but it feels like Replay's the one who's catching all of the love today. And we know he has been able to execute from these high roll positions. So Replay, hey, he's trying to make it 3.
He actually, I do remember, did have the lesser champion duplicator. So found a couple of Kai'Sas. And used it for tempo, because if he was angling to go a Kai'Sa 3, probably would just greet it out and save it to find the last Kai'Sa, the hardest one to find when somebody are already out of the pool, but is just going to be playing for, that tempo style of play. Wants to make sure to win streak throughout all of stage 2, maybe contest or Van Kenob, the other player who is looking for that. And Roby's board is so freaking strong right now. He's already angling with a good Jax setup. If he can get an RFC later, or maybe find just a scoped weapons augment, because his composition can go first. We saw it yesterday out of Roby, I think, as well, actually. So he's setting himself.
But it was someone on our screen, Crow, and it was Jukyu.
It was Jukyu. Sorry. It wasn't Roby. Roby has played some interesting lines for first, but not the Jax one.
Yeah, the Jax was in fact Jukyu, but Roby is a player that I would expect to be able to pull out a Jax, right? To be able to see a line where he can go for the Jax and play it. And he was blessed with those 3 Vi's in a single shop to help make this board even stronger. But Roby, I'm very confident is going to be able to navigate this spot. He's got a nice win streak, and I'm going to be looking at what Roby's augment is on 3-2, what he's able to find.
Yep. Roby and Replay, both 5 streaking. DP the only one to full 5 loss streak. Setsuko with a 4 loss streak, 73 HP though, and 67 on DP means he is still rather healthy. So maybe looking back to that 2-1 choice of slamming a D-Claw, actually, net him maybe another unit kill or 2. And that HP preservation can pay out huge dividends when we get to the mid and later stages of the game. Not feeling pressure to have to go all in because you're 1 or 2 lives. 3 underground, still hasn't found the 4th with a Sona or high roll Samira or anything like that. Did slam a Shiv and is going to be able to sell to 40 here, make 50 because of that. Still in a solid spot. Again, HP preservation was the name of the game.
Yeah, and he's found a Jhin, right? So he's got the opportunity to go towards that Riftwalker's line if he wants. He found a Pike here as well, so he's just looking for the Vex to be able to get that online. So he's got a good pivot point of where he wants to go once he finishes up just blue streaking to get this heist, and we'll see how long he keeps it rolling. It feels like he may just take this next heist cash out because he's got the Jin here and just start making that pivot, start building a real board.
Yeah, it's really interesting because if we look at the hero augment, it is Unrelenting Force Vi, and that's generally played with a reroll kind of underground, or at least Ezreal and Vi kind of centered composition. But DPay is setting himself up, as you're saying, for multiple outs. In a Jin composition, you're not generally going to be playing Vi, or if you are, it's maybe because you played boxing lessons for that tempo and you can fit her in because of Aegis. You can still do that later on, just maybe not get as much value as you usually would have. DPay does have to start being a bit concerned about how quickly do you want to go in and pivot to the Jin board, because a lot of times we see Jins get stuck on Jin 1, force roll down at level 7, and just plain not really hit. And DPay being at 56 is starting to feel that pressure already.
Yeah, and it's just going to be silver augments here, as we saw Setsuko actually ending Roby's win streak. Silver is a little rough for Roby, not horribly, but I know we are looking for scoped weapons there as a big power spike for the Jax. But there certainly are other pickups. This is not going to be a big power for anybody in the lobby. Second win, though, a good pick for DPay. I think a lot of people are looking for that second win on the silver augments. It's always something that's nice to grab.
Definitely. This big egg still has a few rounds left to hatch. Will do so on the Wolves. But second wind, a solid, consistent augment. DPay might even consider selling to 50 here if he loses this round, and has the potential to see that cash out. It's going to be I believe a 2 heist cash out that we will see here soon. Kindle gem. Oh god. Yeah, the hooks the Kale though, so you know Ezreal is still going to be protected. Players are going to be aware of that Raider spoils Ezreal, positioned in a way where it's giving a frontline an item, so it's going to be maybe that rocket propelled fist. DPay playing around it, maybe able to kill another couple of units more than he would have if he got his Ezreal hooked.
Might get the Rammus. Yeah, gets the Rammus. All right, one more. And
not bad.
See what he gets off this cash out. Is it going to be something good? Manazane.
Manazane's not bad, but it's not deeper. What DPay wanted. We are going deeper, especially with the Jin line in mind. Manazane would be okay for Vex, but that's not really the direction that we're angling for. Not like a reroll Vex with a hero augment or anything like that, because we have the Unrelenting Force. DPay is going to be real low HP, probably like 20s before we see that cash out come through, but he's still only on 3 underground, which makes that kind of breakpoint a lot more awkward. Might actually have to still take another loss into stage 4, and that might actually be just way too much HP that he's sacrificing for this.
Yeah, but he's committed now. I feel like if you pivot out of this before you get the cash out, you have just thrown away all of your life. You just have to do it.
Underground jail.
Yep. And he's down to 33, so yeah, that's certainly a tough spot to be. And we just hope for DPay that heist 3 is enough to make a big board. We'll have to check back in when he gets to that situation. So we are making it to the stage 3 carousel. There is a spatula. That's always something I'm interested in. Ripple has a spat. So if this does not get denied, we've got a Tactician's Crown going to Ripple.
And Ripple's going to be picking next, it looks like. And he... okay. Doesn't go for the Tactician's Crown. Ripple actually just opting for the Garen with a sword. I mean, sword's going to be a really priority item. Garen's going to be a priority unit if you do look to go, that mech route, or just defenders, Infinite Team perhaps as well. A unit that fits really well into that style of play. But no Tactician's Crown.
Might be the first time I've ever seen someone just say no thank you.
It's the value of Infinite Team
you're right.
emblem over the Tactician's Crown is just going to be more valuable, actually. And this is kind of the only line where that is the case, which is why we're seeing it. And it's a Garen with that Infinite Team emblem. It's literally the perfect scenario for it.
Yeah, that it now makes sense. Like, I was very confused. I wasn't thinking about this line, but especially Garen with the sword. Yeah, that is better. That is certainly better. Because the Garen, you just pop that on there. You've got both the things you needed. And now you get to start cloning this Garen pretty early on. Ripple with 72 health here. So decently healthy in stage 3. Yeah, he's near the bottom, but not doing too rough on that. And has the potential to cap out this board super high with having the Infinity Team +1 from the augment. And also having the emblem 7 Infinity Team going to be so easy for Ripple Overdrive.
Oh yeah, Ripple dealing a massive blow to Kindle Gem, who has Tiny Titans, so is not going to be feeling the hurt that much. And the Silver Augment is mana tempering, which we don't see be quite as popular as Time and a Half, but it is gonna just make the rest of the team all do more damage with that extra AD. Really good when we think about how high this Infinity board can cap, and that's with Samira's, and we've seen time and time again Samira's 3 comes through. And I actually wanted to touch on that because there's not oftentimes a meta where we see that many 4-cost 3-stars come through, but Samira is not a very contested unit. Really, the only way we're seeing her is in this specific Infinite Team line, and there's really only one player going for that per game. Ripple, I don't know if we're in a spot where we're going to be seeing that, but at least the Samira is going to be coming through and get a lot more damage again from that mana tempering augment.
Yeah, I mean, the other one we see is the Aatrox, which is another unit that doesn't have that many lines that people keep him in, right? Sometimes we see him as a unit to bridge a mid game, but a lot of times he gets sold off the board. So the players who are keeping him to the late game with the brawler lines, or in some cases Infinite Team as well as the frontliner, we've also seen that unit find those 3-stars. We've got a Warwick 2 on 3-6 already. So Roby, with his brawlers, he was still carrying that Jax. We got a glimpse of his board earlier. He's got the Warwick online as well, so he might have multiple carry threats, looking really good as DP does cash this out. Does find a Q cone, does find a couple cloaks, and there is a tome coming through as well. Let's see what he gets from this tome.
Yeah, fortunately for DP, did find the 4th underground, so he's actually able to cash out that underground heist before stage 4. That was absolutely necessary. Already has some AP items with the Shiv on the TF, meaning that the Chalice is going to still be valuable. Doesn't have a lot of gold though, 22. As do have a pause coming through again, making sure things are okay. It's just our games. I guess we're cursed. Yeah, we are. Pools do keep trending up and up for NA TFT and just TFT at large, as I think World's prize pool is nearing like 500k. It's kind of insane. As we do finally get back into the game, love to see it. And that tome comes through with an Ox Force emblem. It's what we were kind of expecting to see, I think, with either Ox or Spellslinger. But it is already that 4 Ox 4 Spellslinger board on just level 7 though.
Yeah, with this, playing the Vi instead of the Fiora, right, to get the 4 Ox, because you have that Unrelenting Force. But what you do lose is you lose Duelist on your Twisted Fate. I'm sure it's not the biggest thing because it is just 2 Duelists, but it is some attack speed. It is not irrelevant on the damage output that your Twisted Fate will have. So we'll kind of keep eyes on that, see if this TF is being able to carry hard enough as DP goes up against replay. And as of now, I mean, these items are fantastic, and a TF1 can do okay at this stage, but DP hitting a TF2 would put him in a very good spot.
Indeed, it would. TF2. 1 Echo was on the bench as well. Having an Echo be found would be fantastic as gold augments come through. That might be good for Roby, who again was looking for that scoped weapons. However, DP probably just going to go for something like a second wind. Does synergize well with Ox Force, who already give themselves just more time. But no, he's going to roll over it.
He already has one in the silver augment, so I think he's just trying to find something else. He finds healing reduction, so that is nice. I know you can stack them, get the big second win,
it doesn't need to.
But finding something that helps kind of shore up the weaknesses here. I like the Sunfire. Roby still on this win streak. We saw he actually had makeshift armor as his silver, which is making those brawlers so tanky. This board was definitely crazy. He had that Warwick 2 from very early on. So we also just saw he finally hit Jax 2, and he's been win streaking with a Jax 1. So, and here he is. Ooh. There's Roby. So this is horrifying. You don't want to be playing against this guy, but at least the Twisted Fate 2 has been hit for DP.
Oh, he missed on the tome, it looks like. He had to take tome and got a sure shot emblem. And is not going to be able to fit that in very easily with this brawler composition. But we do just see the raw power of what this brawler board can do against DP, who did hit the TF2 naturally in that shop. That was a big high roll, and talked about this exactly what DP needed to come back in this game. And it looks like it is going to be enough when TF casts these cards, takes out the Jax. Morgana will not be able to do enough as DP is clawing his way back up from currently sitting in 8th place.
Yeah, ending Roby's streak there is a scary person to fight because he was streaking and found an upgrade recently. So that is massive. As you said, though, that augment does feel like quite a miss for Roby. That's going to hurt him a lot, but he does have a lot of HP and a pretty strong board, so he might be able to make it up. Taking a look at Jukyu, that is an Aurelion Soul 2 with some great items on it as well. No mana generation, but those casts are going to be hitting so hard. Does have the Jeweled Lotus alongside with the Jeweled Gauntlet, so a little bit of, synergy and anti-synergy there, right? You lose some of the value, but also getting more crit rate does not hurt that much.
The backline is fantastic. Is it gonna be a hook? Oh no, that would have been absolutely devastating. But Jukyu gets to Aurelion Soul to live another day, almost take out that misfortune in one cast, but the second one does proc for Kindle Gem, but it's just MF1 with the Shojins. The worrying thing is Jukyu's frontline is looking kind of sus, I'll say. It's mostly 1-star. Sure, they're Ox Forces, and they were enough in this round because Kindle Gem just really did not hit anything. It was super weak, unfortunately there. But the backline was fantastic. There was Sona 2, LeBlanc 2, Aurelion Soul 2. As long as we don't get that carry, hooked, we're gonna be just fine there as soon as we upgrade that front line.
More spatulas available. Curious if anyone will grab that. If anyone still has something open, go in that direction. Deepay did take another loss here, but does find a Nico on this carousel, so that can help round out the composition with the Twisted Fate. Take a look at the items a little bit. We see a couple Ox Forces have been slammed. Malala actually having a mascot emblem as well. And then, of course, Ripple, we did know, had this double Infinity. Actually, wait, no. We didn't know that. He had a heart, and he had one emblem, but now he has another emblem. So he did get Infinity Crest, is what Ripple Overdrive grabbed. And so easy 7 Infinity for Ripple.
Oh yeah, definitely. As Replay is going to be committing to the Star Guardian Kaisa line, hits a Nico too. Also with the Shiv, a little bit anti-value, I suppose, there, running double Shiv, but that's okay. Replay has done such a good job preserving HP, even going back to slamming a BT on the Rel. It's like almost, why would you do that? It gives her just so much time. That's an item that you wouldn't really think. You'd think, just slam some tanky items, whatever, but it's gotten him to be in this really, really fantastic spot. 2 Rels away, still a ton of HP gapping the rest of the lobby, 3 Kaisas away as well. But we do have to also think about, he already used a lesser champion duplicator. It's going to mean it's going to be a lot harder to find these 3-star upgrades. He probably sacrificed or gained maybe like 20-30 HP for hitting these hits just a bit slower in the end game.
Yeah, now taking a look at Roby at the end of the fight, the Blitzcrank coming through with all the lasers, but not going to be able to do enough. Deepay taking another loss, down to 10 HP. Gonna be a really tough spot for him. Kindle Gem as well. Looks like he missed everything. 15 gold on level 7. Finds an Annie upgrade, but just doesn't have any damage on this board. Viego 2 gonna do its best, but it has no items. And the items on the bench are a Zephyr, which is probably not doing anything. Just gonna delay losing the round a little bit.
Yeah, this is not a real board. I think from Kindle Gem, unfortunately. It just happened to be, I hit an MF, I guess I'll carry these items. My frontline is for Ox Force, but we're not playing Ox Slingers. We're just slamming a Zephyr just to try to stabilize and not get 8th, as this is an important round against Deepay.
Yeah, and I mean, Deepay has to be really excited to be facing off against Kindle Gem here. Does get Zephyred on the Twisted Fate, can't avoid that. It was on the bench, and his front line is strong with that Vi. Look how tanky it is, being able to survive all this AP damage. That Dragon Claw paying dividends at this stage of the game, and Twisted Fate able to just shred through this. Kindle Gem actually going to take so much damage. He barely killed anything off of Deepay's board.
Yeah,
Kindle Gem
that's
not going to be in a good spot. He's going to have 1 life after this.
1 life, single-digit HP, and Deepay hangs on for now. I thought maybe the Raider Spoils roll with Monazane MF would be good enough, but it was really only just a little bit more damage. Wasn't able to actually get through the Echo with the Ox Force emblem there. It was just way too tanky, as Setsuko has Infinity 5 Infinity has the emblem on the Garen, so we're seeing multiple players go for this composition, probably meaning there are gonna be no Samira 3s coming through this game. But Setsuko, look at the gold. He's going to level 9 on 5-1 with still like 40 gold to roll with. That's kind of disgusting.
Yeah, a huge thing to point out. Setsuko's maximum cap should be lower than Ripple's, right? Ripple is +3 Infinity. He can find some really insane boards with that with 7 Infinity. Setsuko, he's going to be playing 5. He can find 7 eventually with this extra. He can get some really capped boards, but he's also at 9 while Ripple is at 7. So Setsuko has such a big head start on these late game shops to find these huge units, potentially look for 3 stars, but even just 2-starring legendaries. Setsuko, we know how good he is at crafting endgame boards, and being at 9 on 5-1 with some HP to spare and a strong enough board that he shouldn't lose out. I think Setsuko's in a phenomenal spot. Deepay, though, is a scary matchup.
Deepay is scary because of that Twisted Fate in the back line, and it's just a Sivir from Setsuko. He's not in a spot where he can go Sivir 3, but the front line is so good. Double Garen stunning, but Garen does not get another cast off. The Twisted Fate from Deepay is just tearing through Setsuko's board, has now reached the back line, and Sivir goes down. Samira is only Samira 1, so Setsuko takes yet another loss, 3 in a row. Deepay hangs on, and Kindle Gem goes out in 8th.
Yeah, I mean, that's some really rough matchmaking for Setsuko in this spot running into Deepay. I think he wins a lot of fights, but Deepay is one that was too powerful. He is going to go for the Samira 2. He has gotten there, trying to find a couple more upgrades, as we do know that Replay has hit that 3-star Kai'Sa, so he is going to be strong. But Urgot 2 here for Setsuko. That is the big upgrade that he needed. He's got items that can go there as well.
Yeah,
make this Urgot a secondary carry.
Setsuko, I think, just missed the Sivir 2.
He did, yeah.
Past it. Uncharacteristic mistake from him, I think. He's usually really good at recognizing these roll downs and making board pivots. And this isn't a big board pivot, right? It's just one unit. But he's still going to have a really strong board. These 2 items now going on to the Urgot, and it gets a big ultimate. Samira, though, is the only one alive. Still losing. Another ult comes out. Can he kill enough to survive? And the answer is yes. 4 HP, though. With a board like that, you would not expect to see Setsuko still losing.
Yeah, I mean, again,
Deepay.
in the matchmaking, he faced Deepay and then he faced Ripple, but Deepay goes down because Replay is also strong.
Wow. Deepay finally playing a different style of game, playing super risky, but going out in 7th as well. Setsuko on a 4-loss streak, Replay tanking a lot, 3-loss streak. Setsuko can't really do much to upgrade the board. He's actually dropping down to 3 Infiniteam.
Yeah, the backline wasn't helping him at all, right? Just a Sivir 1 getting copied. Yes, you lose stats on the Garen, but at this point, finding these threats has to be stronger.
Yeah.
Going up against Jukyu. We've seen the power of that Aurelion. He's got the Aurelion and the TF, but the Shroud is perfect. Hits both the carries, and Garen is in a great position with these stuns, stopping those DPS from doing anything. The only thing that's missing is going to be this Urgot not able to hit onto those carries. There's the cast, but the TF takes out the Samira before she can go, and it looks like it's up to the Urgot. Can he take them out? I don't think he can.
No.
That's Setsuko falling in 6th once again. Setsuko going 6th, 3rd, 6th. And that game looked like it should have been something that can top 4, but instead it is a bottom 3. So many strong boards. The caps are so high.
Wow.
And does Ripple want to go +4 Infiniteam? Probably not, but it is very funny.
It is an option, but wow, Setsuko almost feels like he was robbed from that placement. He did almost everything right. Missing the Sivir 2 upgrade is not actually that big of a deal. I think he made a very intelligent decision dropping the 5 Infiniteam. Copying a Sivir or a TF in the backline isn't going to do that much. The Garen copy still did ultimate, so he got the value that he needed. Had the Fiddle CC in the backline, had the Urgot ultimate coming through, but Samira just still got taken out. That is really surprising. Replay finally does hit the Rel 3. Ripple Overdrive 2-star ultimate Ezreal on 5-3 as we see as well. That is super early. Got out that board, 59 HP on a win streak as we see Roby Van's kind of transition here. Did find an RFC for the Jax, is moving some items over, as that's now a sure shot Warwick. Not something you see every day, but it's gonna be real strong.
Yeah, it's wrapping here. It might be able to find a way onto the back line in a second. See if it skips the Garen, if it turns around. Looks like it is going to go towards the Garen, and that fight already not looking good. Running into Ripple is certainly not where you want to be if you're Roby. I like that he gave up on the 3-star Jax, just tried to swap the items around, get as strong as possible, see if he can win a round. Not enough here. Goes out in 5th, and Malala able to grab another top 4 this time around. He started off the day rough, but he's been grabbing back-to-back top 4 since.
Roby Van Knoop grabbing back-to-back fifths, so always just on the cusp of that top four. He's one of the players that was maybe in contention for an average placement kind of victory on the tournament, assuming Replay and Jukyu keep on dominating, which they are. They're in the top four yet again, Cass. This is such an insane day for both of them.
Yeah, they are still just the absolute most dominant players in this tournament. It wasn't just today. It's been the last 2 days as well for these players. And we said at the start, Ripple needed a big game. Good to see him here in first place. He does have the ability to cap that board super high. It does feel like Ripple is in a good spot to win, but Jukyu and Replay spots are also good, right? This is a very capped Kaisa board. It still has a way to go. Replay can get stronger, and he is winning right now, able to take down Malala. He doesn't have a ton of gold to work with, but if he can win a couple rounds here without having to spend, there is still a place for Replay at the top of this table.
1 HP Malala, Jukyu with a Syndra carrying the Zeeks now in the back line. The front line has 0 items, but he almost doesn't need them just because Ox forces are naturally just so tanky. Admin going to be coming through with that admin heart as well. And we know Jukyu's admin is every 5 seconds your team gains 150 health, so not the best one, good in the early game, but again, it's going to be just making that front line, giving it the tankiness that it needs.
Yeah, I mean, it's been outscaled, but at this point, it doesn't hurt him to keep it in.
Hey, here we go, front line item, finally.
There you go. Perfect. Able to find something to help this out, because the front line still looks pretty fake for this, but Jukyu's damage is so immense. And that Syndra at least is going to help a little bit with the front line by just throwing something else at the enemy. Just like, hey, take this. Kill this. Yep. Do not kill my carries right now. We see Jukyu still setting up for this. Going on the roll down, not finding anything else. So just that front line item for the Echo.
Yeah, really doesn't want to have to hold on to this Alistar and the Viego because the Syndra might prioritize those as well. Is still holding on to the Nico as well, so it's actually likely to not throw in a Fiddlesticks. Does high roll into throwing a Fiddle in. That's one of the most high value units that you can, as we see both fights here. Malala versus Ripple Overdrive. Malala trying to hang on 1 HP, but it's going to be such a tall task versus Ripple Overdrive and those Infinity teams.
Yeah, I mean, the Jhin is doing its best. He's got a lot of damage out. The Malphite's still alive to tank up. Actually, this is a potential win for Malala. Potential to stay alive, but the Ezreal cast gets so close. And yes, Jhin. There are the Runos Hurricanes, but Malphite with the big ground pound to get it out of the way. Malala gonna stay alive.
Malphite slams down on the ground and keeps Malala in the game. 1 HP still. How far can he take it? A very nice hit onto the Viego. Can probably just sell the Nico, hit the Viego to upgrade, and be way more likely. Fiddle 2 is gonna be locking for this, or selling the Alistar, which he just did, winning the fight and picking it up without having to lock the shop. The matchup is going to be up against Malala, and Malala has a Zephyr, and it is going to land onto the Aurelion Soul. That's a big hit. Yeah,
a huge hit, and we look at that Shroud, perfect as well, on to all these characters of Jukyu. This Nunu trying to do a little damage to the back as well. We look at the Pike in a perfect spot, can get another stun pretty soon here, and Jhin still untouched, did not get clipped by the meteors yet, and Viego just shredding through the carries. It's just Twisted Fate left. He can't get through all this frontline. Malala gonna stay alive a little bit longer. Jukyu gonna have to lock this shop.
Man, this top 4 is so intense. Jukyu is going to lock the shop, get that Fiddle too, so next fight going to be a lot stronger. Ripple Overdrive has taken a couple losses in a row, but that's because there's 70 gold in the bank. Ripple is looking to go level 9 and cap out this board even higher. There's still a bunch of upgrades to come through. There's Samira 2 in the future of Ripple, same with Aurelion Soul. Needs to get there, however, as he's very quickly dropping in HP, especially with how hard Malala is hanging on. 2 more fights, Ripple versus Jukyu on the right, Malala versus Replay on the left. Can Malala hang on yet again?
And Jukyu's guaranteed, throwing in a 2-star Fiddle out the gates from the Syndra. We'll see if Replay has the damage. The Ezreal casts are starting. Will they take out the backline? They don't quite get the TF, but finally the last shot does, and that is not going to be enough from LeBlanc. Jukyu gonna go down. Can Malala survive one more? He could get one more place, but no. Replay gonna take him down, and Replay going to still outlast Jukyu and extend his lead in first place.
Man, that is crazy. Jukyu going third, second, and then third. But Replay could go back to back to back firsts, and his autumn win streak has reached that critical mass point of the Kai'Sa reroll with Hold the Rel, which is just such a dang good frontline unit, especially with that Eternal Winter coming through and auto attack based composition from Ripple Overdrive. If those carries get stunned because they have to auto rel so much, that opens up so much time for Replay's backline to do the work that it needs to. There's double Q code in the back there buffing up the carries as well. Replay looking real strong, and I think maybe actually favored in this matchup.
Somehow he does look stronger. Ripple hasn't gotten to the point to fully cap out, right? He doesn't have the 2-star legendaries on a line yet, which might have been the way to turn this around, like a 2-star Fiddle or an Urgot. But right now it is just going to be the Ezreal, and the auto attack's not going to do enough. Wait for this cast. Let's see if the Ezreals can do enough work, but the 3 stars just have too much HP, and the Rel will not be denied, will not go down. She will hold the line. Replay gonna find the win in that fight. Ripple still has work to do, but not enough gold to do it.
Not enough gold. Just gonna playing an Urgot instead, but that Eternal Winter did some heavy lifting there. The Sivir looks like she was just in molasses. Their auto attacks were not coming through nearly fast enough. Double Ezreals with 7 Infiniteam, 3 items apiece was not enough to get through Replay's composition. That's so insane, but we get to see it again. Was it a fluke, or can Ripple turn it around?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can do in way of positioning. The Urgot, though, is placed nicely to hit the carries. Will pull them in and slow them down for a second. We're waiting for this Ezreal cast. That's the big thing. Can it actually take anything out? Will the Nico go down? She does, but that is still not enough. The misfortune, the Rel, it's all too much for Ripple, and he's still alive. He's still got a fight to go. But Replay has been winning these handedly. Even though it's only a few units, it's still not looking that close. The Ezreals are landing these ultimates. They are landing on the correct units. But the Kai'Sa has too much HP, too much regen. She doesn't go down fast enough.
It literally could just be a Sivir being on the right-hand side versus left-hand side diff, because Sivir has just been starting off the fight, attacking this Rel for 2 fights in a row now, and she's just not been able to participate. It's all the heavy lifting on the Ezreal, and especially because Sivir has Runeans, 1 extra auto attack could have taken out Kai'Sa earlier when the Ezreal cast came through, prevented a lot of damage, and let Ripple actually have a big chance going into stage 7, because Replay, even if he loses, is probably going to be on 2 lives. And so we get to see these items being picked here. There's not going to be anything crazy like Zephyrs or Shrouds, just another item to buff up these damage dealers, as Deathcap gets picked for the Aurelion Soul for Ripple, and Deathcap gets picked for Replay on the Misfortune. We get to see it again.
There's a win con. Ripple has put in the Leona, and he got the side. He got the switch. The Leona's right there onto the Rel. Leona 2, gonna be able to get the cast on Rel right away. Ripple, beautiful positioning, beautiful recognition, rolls down, finds the hit, and here comes the Leona calling down thunder on the Rel. But is it enough? One more cast from the Nico. It's not enough. Ripple did everything he could.